interpreting. 念のためでございます。
Just in case, those who cannot understand Japanese, I've just requested you to wear this headset for simultaneous translation. We have been delayed by 5 minutes or so, but according to a rumor, it seems that 10 minutes after 20 past 9, the traffic lights of Tokyo is going to be stopped. We were wondering when to start, but it seems that we have people in the audience already showing up. Whether the traffic was not blocked or whether you walked, I don't know, but I think we're all ready to begin. So, without being too formal, we'd like to open today's symposium. We hope to enjoy the symposium. We hope to make the symposium as constructive as possible. Well, I belong to JCIE. I am president of JCIE. Tadashi Yamamoto is my name. I really thank the people here who are all very busy to have come today. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all. The symposium, we have Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Horton from Lancet. This is co-hosted by Lancet and JCIE. We welcome Mr. Richard Horton, who will be making opening remarks after this. Well, myself, to be attending such a symposium, especially on the topic of global health, and co-organizing this symposium, I have to make my comments very moderate. But in terms of global health, various people from various quarters have gathered here, not only the physicians, but politicians, from people of the economy and business sector. So this is a cross-sector cooperation that is necessary in this field. And I do feel the need of such increasing direct hand. And so today we have about 30 people from abroad, from various countries and from various sectors. We welcome you all to the symposium. This is to commemorate the Lancet special series on Japan. And this was possible due to the major efforts by Lancet. I would especially like to thank Mr. Richard Horton and other people working for Lancet. So I don't want to prolong my speech, but various people from various sectors are gathered here today. And as an example, Mr. Haranaka, Dr. Haranaka, of the president of JMA, I don't see him right now, but he is here. And Member of Parliament, Mr. Furukawa, he was a candidate for becoming Prime Minister, but I'm sure he will become, and who will be talking to us later on. And finally, as I mentioned before, the topic of global health is very much related with diplomacy and also related to various social challenges and issues. So in that sense, if I may repeat myself, various people from various sectors and quarters need to collaborate. And that is the gist of today's symposium. From the various perspectives of various sectors, there will be presentations and comments made. In terms of diplomacy, diplomatic issues, we may think only about Japan, U.S., Japan, China relationship, maybe 4 or 5 types of diplomatic relationships. But global, from a global perspective, various countries need to cooperate. That is absolute condition. So traditional, not only traditional security from the traditional perspective, but human security is an extremely important perspective. And today's symposium, I think various sessions will be taking up the concept of human security. In any case, this is a very new field, new mechanisms arising, and new possibilities of collaboration is now emerging, especially in the global health sector. So I don't want to make a lengthy introduction, so without further ado, I would like to call upon the speaker for the opening remarks, Mr. Richard Horton, Editor-in-Chief of Lancet. By the way, We have a very busy schedule today, so Suzuki-san from Secretariat said that 5 or 10 minutes for each of the commentators, 10 to 12 minutes to Mr. Horton, please.
Thank you, Tadashi, very much, and let me begin by welcoming everybody and first thanking you, Tadashi, for your great support for the report that we are publishing today. The French historian François Guizot wrote almost 200 years ago that, and I quote, "The idea of progress, of development, appears to me the fundamental idea contained in the word civilization, the perfecting of civil life, the development of society." And this series on Japan's health system, which has taken 3 years of incredibly hard but inspired work to complete, proves that Japan, within the extraordinarily short time of half a century, has indeed gone a very long way to perfect its civil life and develop rapidly its society. This report is a testament to the creative power and energy of the Japanese civilization. It gives me enormous pleasure to begin this morning by thanking my two very good friends, Keizo Takemi and Kenji Shibua, and the Japan Series team for their tremendous work. When I read the final version of this report, I did so as if it was a gripping novel. And in one sense, it is a non-fiction story of success, with a riveting plot, heroes, twists, turns, and even a few villains along the way. This series represents the greatest concentration of Japanese health expertise ever brought together in a Western medical journal. It is a major statement, nationally and globally, of Japan's achievements. Its purpose, on the 50th anniversary of universal health coverage and in the terrible aftermath of the Great East Japan earthquake, is to examine the achievements, the current challenges, and the global lessons of Japan's experience. We also want to initiate a national conversation about Japan's role in the world of health, science, and diplomacy. With a new Prime Minister, who is just hours old in his position, the national debate around these matters could not come at a more important time. Now, none of this work that you're going to hear about today could have been done without the support of several dedicated partners. And let me pay tribute to the Japan Center for International Exchange and Tadashi and his many colleagues who are with us today in the audience, the China Medical Board, led by President Lincoln Chen, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and international support from many academics, some of whom you will hear as speakers today. I'd also like to thank my colleagues at the Lancet, particularly Dr. Bill Summerskill, who is also with us. But the pride of place goes to the 50 Japanese health experts who wrote this report. Experts across 25 Japanese institutions, universities, schools of medicine, hospitals, clinics, national centres, and government ministries. Japan has several important comparative advantages that make it a nation with a special contribution to health, a voice that needs to be heard. 60 years of peace and stability, a lifestyle that emphasizes health consciousness and community. A global leader in health policies, from universal health coverage to long-term care insurance. A younger generation motivated for change, and I'm especially delighted we have medical students and graduate students in the audience with us today. And a distinct set of social values: human security, equity, solidarity, and health as an entitlement. Multiple successes are fully documented in our report. Rapid rises in life expectancy, control of infectious diseases and non-communicable diseases such as stroke and cardiovascular disease, health systems strengthening across not just universal coverage, but also reduced health inequalities and cost containment, and a strong government commitment to public health. There are also serious challenges to be addressed: an ageing society, questions about the quality of care, emerging health disparities, seemingly intractable risk factors for illness, such as smoking, obesity, and high blood pressure. The serious challenge of suicide, a rising number of the uninsured, and increasing patient expectations. This report makes several urgent recommendations for reform, and we will be discussing these today. But a further important aspect of this series is that it opens a door for non-Japanese speakers to understand and engage with Japan's special contribution to health. This report draws on Japanese language sources usually inaccessible to those of us who live in the West. Around 20% of all sources cited in this report are in the Japanese language. And in some areas, such as suicide prevention, these Japanese sources offer a unique and vital contribution to global discussions of health. These literatures show that Japan is at a turning point. The past decade has seen great international success for Japan, not least 2 G8 summits in Okinawa and Toyoko, which took health to the highest of political levels. And Keizo Takemi was a leader in that success story, where health was a critical part of these international debates and which needs to be sustained in that position. But sometimes, as an outsider, I think that Japan's voice is not heard enough on the global stage. Japan's recognition does not match its tremendous expertise and experience in health at home. It's an experience and expertise that will prove crucial to all nations as they grapple with some of the similar challenges that Japan is facing today. We hope that the country will find ways to share its domestic success globally, and part of the reason for publishing this series is to help that objective be achieved. This means strengthening Japan's commitment to global health and its international role, in its people, in its institutions, in its global health strategies and initiatives, regionally, across research, in financing health and human development, and across all sectors of society, in academia, the private sector, civil society, and the media. And all of those sectors are represented, I'm pleased to say, in the audience today. This report also has a personal dimension for me too. If I could have the first slide. In April 1946, a 21-year-old man, my English father, stood on a hill overlooking Hiroshima. He captured the image of Hiroshima in 3 black and white photographs. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move this along. Could you move it for me, perhaps? This isn't working. Oh, great, thank you. And when you digitally reconstruct those photographs, you see the panorama of Hiroshima just 8 months after August the 6th, 1945. It's a city pressed firmly into the ground. And what strikes you when you look at it is just the quiet flatness of the scene. When you magnify images within that photograph, you can see famous monuments such as the Prefectural Industrial Promotion Hall. It's small details, though, that stop you in your tracks, and certainly stopped me as a child growing up with these photographs in our home. A burnt tree stripped of its bark and leaves, standing as a living witness to Picadon, the flashbang of the atomic bomb. A bridge newly reconstructed across the river, showing signs of organization and recovery. New homes being constructed. I count about 40 roofs in this rebirth of the city. Images of people in Hiroshima going about their daily activities, cycling, walking, sharing a conversation. People tilling a burnt and devastated land, bringing life back into this realm of destruction. And perhaps here in the centre, 2 children walking briskly to school. In fact, some of the most arresting images are of children. Here, children at school with their teacher at the blackboard. Children outside the school laughing together at a strange visitor standing with a camera. I grew up with these images and more, and they stand as a vital reminder of our community of nations, the obligations that we owe one to another, the quest for peace as the basis for human health and well-being, and the importance of protecting all human lives from critical and pervasive threats, giving people the means for survival, for freedom, for fulfillment, and for dignity. That is the definition of human security. These children, of course, if you would think about it, perhaps around 8 years old or so in this picture in 1946, which means they would be in their early 70s today, perhaps the age of some of you in this audience. These are the children who rebuilt Japan. They are the children who are responsible as adults for this country's peace, universal health care, and growing global contribution. These are the children who gave us what we are going to talk about during the course of today. In another part of Japan today, you will see scenes similar to the ones I've shown in these photographs. The devastation, the ruination of communities in Tohoku, a national crisis that has demanded extraordinary political leadership. The Japanese people have responded to that crisis with a sense of profound solidarity. And perhaps, as in 1945, this is an inflection point in Japanese history towards a new era of creativity and unity in the service of Japanese citizens. Human security for an egalitarian society, reform of universal health care to sustain and develop Japan's health still further. The report that we are discussing today sets out some of the ideas and policies that can continue Japan's striking progress in health. But when we look at this slide, these are the children of Hiroshima, and Japan responded magnificently to their future. But they could easily be the children of Tohoku too. Japan is, and can still further, respond again. And the series we published this week is published in respect to the Japanese people and in the great hope of solidarity and community between nations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard, for your most profound and gripping and impressive talks. I'd like to go on to Lincoln Chen. I think timing is running very fast, so if you would try to be within 8 minutes, as I'm told.
On behalf of the China Medical Board, I would like to join Editor Richard Horton in congratulating the Japan Center for International Exchange, the Lancet, related ministries, and the Gates Foundation for its co-sponsorship and production of this most distinguished Lancet Japan series that contains 6 splendid theme papers and 8 commentaries. The series is characterized by scientifically analyzing Japan's achievements and failings, attaining high academic standards, including practical implications, exhibiting well-crafted design, balanced content, and yet focusing, and finally demonstrating exceptional collaboration. I counted 75 scientists in total, working in teams that were led by Keizo Takemi, Tadashi Yamamoto, Kenji Shibuya, but also many others here, including Professor Ikegami, Hashimoto, Reich, and many others. They were orchestrated brilliantly by the Lancet, Richard Horton, and especially the senior executive editor, Bill Summerskill. Very brief word. Why China supporting Japan Lancet series? China Medical Board is an American foundation that was financed and started by Rockefeller endowments. Indeed, the China Medical Commission that created the CMB visited Japan in its first and second mission to China in 1913 and 1915. CMB was a member of the Rockefeller Foundation when it gifted funds to Japan after the 1923 earthquake in Tokyo, which we're remembering especially today. And Rockefeller financed over 100 Japanese physicians, nurses, and public health professionals for advanced training in the first half of the 20th century. In the second half, the CMB has worked in 17 countries throughout Asia, outside of China. And in Japan in particular, one of the previous presidents of the CMB actually lived and worked in Tokyo here as a special advisor to the Institute of Public Health. More recently, CMB has been very keen to promote Asian cooperation in health, and we have been pleased to align ourselves with the Lancet in productions of Lancet series on China and Southeast Asia, and now this most important Japan series. This series is an authoritative source on everything you want to really know about Japan's health. Many successes. Longest life expectancy in the world in an aging population, universal coverage, cost control with reasonable quality. But all health success breeds new challenges and extreme pressures to adapt and change, because health is a quest, a perennial quest, to reduce human suffering and to prolong life. The series argues that this is a window of opportunity, and the organizers present 4 points and a future vision for Japan in terms of a framework for action. Adopt a human security approach, which Richard echoed, harmonize central and state roles, promote quality with equity, and expand the engagement in global health. It is also opening a window of opportunity for Japan in global health through learning and sharing. How do you achieve universal health coverage with an aging population? This is a big challenge in neighboring China, which will have an even faster pace of aging than Japan because of the one-child family. Japan successfully reduced salt consumption and stroke mortality. This is a big issue in next-door China, which has 150 million hypertensives, larger than the entire population of Japan. Of course, both Japan and China have major smoking epidemics. China has 300 million smokers, 1/3 of the world smokers. So Japan has much it can teach other countries, but it can also learn. China is undergoing a healthcare reform now, where it has just announced the start of a new barefoot doctor, but with shoes. These will be doctors, what they call 5+3, 5 years of medical school and a family practice-oriented residency. So the two-way flow of knowledge, of shared spirit, and of commitment to health is what the China Medical Board is about. And that is why we are so proud to be part of this landmark Lancet Japan series, pointing the way to the next 50 years of reform in Japan and invigorating Japan's global health collaboration, especially in Asia. Thank you very much.